Hello, everybody. It's the interview queen, Alicia Atute here, and I'm so excited to be catching up with Lance Archer. Hello.
How are you doing? I'm glad you said your last name because I've always wondered exactly how to say your last name.
Well, I always hear from people that they think it's a tout or a toot. They never actually think it's a toot, or they're too scared to say toot. So,
Yeah, you crazy Canadians and your crazy names.
right. Well, now we know. I mean, the first thing I wanted to ask you is why is the hate still coming my way when it comes to the way I eat my burritos, man? This You found out about this what, like a year ago? You called me noodles earlier. Like, come on, you gotta let
Hey,
up.
I'm never gonna let up. You put noodles on a burrito, that's just blasphemy.
You're gonna try it one day whenever AEW come to Toronto, and your mind's gonna be blown. Just wait.
I'm sure it will be, but the southern gentleman in me is gonna be very upset.
Right. I mean, you're telling me you don't like any weird food combos. There's something I gotta come at you for.
I love raw horse meat from Japan, so
Okay. Well, maybe my mind will change if I ever go over there and I give that a shot.
some people love it, some people can't wrap their minds around it.
Right. Well, something that's super exciting that is coming up for you extremely soon is Double or Nothing. It is right around the corner, and
Yep.
you are going to face Cody Rhodes for the TNT Championship. So you must just be absolutely psyched because this is a huge, huge pay-per-view.
Yeah, you said it wrong. I'm gonna be kicking Cody's ass for the TNT
Oh,
Championship.
my bad. My bad.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you said it wrong. But yeah, it's absolutely. It's the very first TNT champion ever. It's my first pay-per-view event with the company. Have come in like a ball of fire, blaze of glory, and kicking everybody's ass. But it's been a lot of fun. So this is going to be the tip of the icing on the cake or whatever. The noodles on the burrito, if you as you might say.
Right, that's exactly how I would say it. I mean, I feel like there are a lot of different things coming into play when it comes to this match. You mentioned how it's your first pay-per-view with AEW. You're
Yep.
also going against the boss of the company, being Cody Rhodes, and at the same time, we have Mike Tyson coming in to actually present the championship. So, does that add any added pressure going into it, or do you have enough matches under your belt? You're just like, it's just another guy's ass to kick.
I mean, there's pressure, but pressure in the best way. It's pressure to continue to perform at the highest level that have ever performed in my career. I even coming to AEW was just seeing that opportunity, that challenge to take a next step in my career, and so this opportunity to kick Cody's ass, my boss's ass, and to have Mike Tyson hand me my title. What an honor for him. It's a lot of cool things that are happening, and so I'm excited about it. It's pressure, but I'm excited about that pressure.
Well, I remember when I saw you back at Warrior Wrestling a few months ago, all the rumors were going around, and I asked you, you must love the fact that all of these people were like, "Hey, where is he going to end up?"
Right.
And so, I mean, you have to tell me about the moment where they actually rang you up, and you were like, "Oh, okay, this is a big opportunity, and this is the place I'm going to settle with."
Yeah, and then it wasn't just I'm trying to get my words straight. It all kind of fell into place. Like everything was going really well with New Japan. Um, I just finished a tag league tour in Japan back in December. AEW was coming to Dallas like that Wednesday. I got home on a Monday. They were in Dallas on Wednesday, and I just went to see my friends and to hang out. I wasn't there trying to bug anybody about a job. And then the rumor circulated that I didn't have a contract with New Japan because I had never had a contract with New Japan. It was always a tour by tour situation. There were rumors that New Japan was probably going to offer me one, but I still at that point had never actually gotten one. And so when that kind of got out, I think it opened some people's minds and ideas to the idea of having me a part of AEW. And I was actually called and they were like, "Hey, can you come down to Corpus Christi, Texas?" Because they were going to be in Corpus the next week. We just want to talk to you. And I was like, "Yeah, why not? Let's do it. Let's see what's out there." And I had no idea exactly what they were thinking, what they were going to, talking about. And so I went down to Corpus and sat down, had a meeting. And, the initial idea from AEW was just kind of a short-term, part-term deal. And the crazy thing about that was when they called and asked me to come to Corpus, and that was on Friday after that Wednesday when they were in Dallas. That same Friday morning, I'd received my first annual contract offer from New Japan.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so when I got down to Corpus, things had kind of changed a little bit, and I was like, "Hey guys," once they started pitching the part-time deal, and I said, "That's great. I love the idea, and I definitely want to do it." I was like, "But understand if a part-time offer is the only thing that's on the table right now." I do now have a full-time offer from New Japan, and I can't leave that on the table. I'm going to have to take that. And then when you're ready to do this part-time situation, we'll work all the particulars out, with New Japan and come in and do that, and everything will be great. And then I think that's kind of when they went, well, we want you here full time. And then they actually offered me a full-time contract, like a 2 to 3 year contract. And then a lot of negotiation went back and forth, because again, I'd been with New Japan for 8.5 years. There was so many cool positives about AEW, from talking to friends who had only good things to say about AEW, the opportunity to be back home in the US market, not having to travel quite as much and across to the other side of the world on a consistent basis. Yeah, I have a strong faith in God, and I prayed immensely about it, and I just felt like he was leading me towards AEW. And there were just so many positives and things that were coming into play that were going, go to AEW, go to AEW. And it's not like New Japan wasn't a place I still wanted to be, and it's not like they weren't treating me well. It was just everything was pointing to the direction of AEW, and that's kind of how that all came about. Like I said, it wasn't a, fly by the pants, right at that moment decision. I thought about it a long time. I weighed all the pros and cons, and ultimately I decided, AEW is where I wanted to be, and I wanted to take on that challenge, that next step, and then prove to the American audience and the Western audience that I was as damn good as I knew I was, and had become in Japan.
Right. It's amazing that even though you, of course, had to give it a lot of thought, because in the end, even though a lot of people are like, oh, it's only a job, like your job is your life, especially in wrestling. So it's amazing that it seemed like everything was pointing you just towards this one brand, because if it wasn't, I can assume it would have been extremely complex. So the fact that everything lined up, that's such a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Well, we can't see it currently, but we have briefly discussed the Murder Hawk before. And I was wondering, did you originally just have a really cool haircut and then it turned into being called something? Or were you like, I have an idea for myself. This is how I want to look. I envision the Murder Hawk.
Right. The Murder Hawk name came a little bit later, and it was just one of those things. So, I mean, backtracking, when I was told that I was going to be in the G1, my time in Japan, like I said, at that point going into the G1 had been about 8 years with the company, but most of that time had been in a tag team with Harry Smith, or Davey Boy Smith Jr., as KES, Killer Elite Squad. So this was my first real opportunity as a singles wrestler, singles player, as they say in Japan. And so I was on a mission to kind of recreate myself, reinvent myself, reinvigorate myself, all those words you want to throw in there. And changing the image was one of them, because I had hair probably as long as yours is right now. And it was a full head of hair, but I'd had that same kind of image for pretty much the entire time I'd been with New Japan, excuse me. So when the G1 was presented to me as an opportunity, I was like, okay, I'm going to do everything I can to change everyone's perception of what they thought I was into what I am now, and move forward in this business. It was kind of a do or die moment. And so, I had this envisionment for the new haircut and the new hairstyle, and the initial version was more of a poofed up, crazy, tomahawk looking haircut. Okay. And I kind of, it was a mohawk, but, my style is very aggressive and very murderous. And I was like, it's not just a mohawk, it's a murder hawk. And then later on during the tour, when I had a hairdresser that helped me create the look, and he was in Dallas, so he made it look great in Dallas when I debuted it, fighting Will Ospreay. But then he wasn't on the tour with me in Japan, and I'm not a hairstylist. And
right, so you kind of have to figure that out.
my ability to make it look as cool was not that good. And then I had a hairstylist fan in Japan, and I was like, hey, can you braid it like this? And she was like, yeah, I can do that. So I had her come backstage at one of the events, and she braided it down. And then I decided, to add the extensions into it to make it longer and crazier and cooler. And it's just kind of grown from there. Like I said, started out one way, transform into a little bit different, and now it's to what it is now, with the crazy long braided in murder hawk craziness.
I mean, you mentioned how it's a do or die moment and how you do have like a very, you mentioned like a murderous, aggressive vibe to everything that you do. And of course, Everybody Dies comes into play for that. I'm very glad that this is interview round 3 and I've been able to elude that
Right.
saying that you have. Stay on
Yes.
that good side. How do people stay on the good side of Everybody Dies? How do some people escape and, continue to live from it?
They stay out of the ring. That's the only way. You
Okay.
know, there's very much a duality to myself, my existence, my social media presence. Like I said, I do have my faith in God and the person that is me. We've been around each other. I've danced a little bit on one of your
Yeah, you too.
interviews. So there's a very different man that exists outside the ring than the guy that gets in the ring and starts to kick some ass. And when Lance Archer, the Murder Hawk Monster, steps in the ring, that's when everybody dies. When I step out of the ring and if we're just hanging out eating burritos with noodles, I'm a pretty chill dude.
Everybody.
Plus, I might want to kill somebody if I have to eat a burrito with noodles. I don't know.
I'm telling you, you're gonna love it. I have it as proof right here. Me telling you, it's gonna be good. Just you wait. Now, the last thing I wanted to ask you about is because I not only interview wrestlers but also musicians. If
Right,
you could have any band ever write some entrance music for you, who would you just
right.
love to see do so?
Oh man, right now the Taylor, the guy with his band Motor League, is the one that created my song now, the song that I come out to on AEW. So he's a good dude, and he's got a band. He's actually Canadian as well. He's up there with you guys. But if you were just asking like all-time favorite, band, man, I mean, Metallica would probably be up there as one of those bands that I'd love to have an entrance music made by. More recent, like Five Finger Death Punch, something like that. Yeah, those are the types of bands that I would love the opportunity to have make me some entrance music if I had a dream scenario of bands.
What's cool is your image would fit in like perfectly with a Five Finger Death Punch. Like I could
Yeah,
actually see you like rocking out with dudes like that. That'd be
yeah.
yeah. I don't know why my brain went there, but
If you've got any connections, hook me up.
I've interviewed them before. They're like really
Very
cool
cool.
guys. Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, I want to say thank you so much for giving me some time. I know you have a massive match to prepare for, so
Right.
just thank you a ton for coming on.
I appreciate you having me on. Have a good night, and or day, and go find your burritos with noodles and drown yourself in them.
Absolutely. Everyone, this has been Lance Archer. I'm the interview queen, Alicia Toot. Be sure to check out Double or Nothing and AliciaToot.com for all exclusive interviews and features. We'll see you all next time.